pick up your tunes and,
How does it feel?
yeah.
Well, two things happen. First is you make money. We call that mailbox money, meaning it shows up in your mailbox even though you weren't on tour. If I could spend my life doing that, I would be very happy because I'd much, no offense to anyone here, I'd much rather be home writing. So that's the first. The second thing is that's cut 3 of my songs. I know how many songs she listens to before she cuts one. It's a real honor when somebody who listens to 200 or 300 songs for every one they pick chooses yours. I mean, that's amazing. It means that you've hit the universal well enough and strongly enough that another artist considers that you're telling their story as well. So to me, I've heard songwriters who bitch about that and go, oh, I didn't like their version. I just find it incredibly flattering. It's what I want for my work. I mean, I'm sure there are artists who enjoy creating in a vacuum. I'm not one of them. I really like my work to be heard. Yes, ma'am.
What 3 songs did Bette Midler pick of your songs?
Some People's Lives, Tea and Sympathy, and there's a third that I can't, to my embarrassment, remember right now. Don't tell. Yes, ma'am.
Could you speak a little bit about your process? Do you do you write the lyrics, or do the lyrics and the music come together, or?
I'm one of those fortunate people where both of them usually come at once, or pretty close to. I think if I've learned anything over the years as a songwriter, it's that sometimes songs aren't ready to be written. My acting teacher, Stella Adler, used to say that we should let our talent lead us because the talent knew better than we do. And I think that as you get older and you trust more, and you trust your talent more, and you stop trying to push on the river, you realize how important it is sometimes to just let things lie. There was a song on the last album, it's on a compilation called My Tennessee Hills, where I had the chorus sitting around for probably 4 years until I looked at it one day and realized it was a George Jones song, and that's how I had to write the verses. But it took me 4 years to figure that out. Beyond that, I don't really have a process. I'm fortunate that I have enough talent usually to carry me when my craft is disappearing, and I'm fortunate that I have enough craft, thanks to my years in Nashville, to carry me when the talent fails. But it's a hard one. It's a hard one knowing when to stop. The one thing I kept thinking watching this was how much I have to learn as a performer. Because to my mind, I'm so much a better songwriter than a performer. As a songwriter, I don't mind leaving space. I'm comfortable with silence. I don't feel regimented. And I can see watching myself from outside as a performer that I'm still not comfortable leaving space on stage. I'm still not comfortable with silence.
Especially when the camera was going like this.
Well, there was that. Anyone else? Yes, ma'am.
When you were 12, 14, before you started writing music, who were your musical influences? And also, do you know if there are any more tickets left for Yoshi's?
I think there's tickets to the second show left. That first one at Yoshi's is always hard, apparently, and it's the Yoshi's San Francisco. My influences then were pretty much a lot of the people I listen to now. Odetta was a huge influence. Buffy St. Marie. Nina Simone was an enormous influence because she was the only other woman I saw out there who was leading the band, doing the arranging, playing, and writing, and singing. Most women, Joan Baez was also a huge influence on me and very, very good to me. But even Joan didn't lead a band. She played and she sang, but she didn't write at the time. She wasn't a band leader. So it was more those women, and Billie Holiday. Billie Holiday was huge. Dylan is a writer. Cole Porter, Gershwin, a lot of influences.
Thank you.
I was lucky that my parents loved jazz and classical and folk, so the only music I didn't hear at home was pop. So then when I went in with Shadow, it was all brand new and pretty cool. Yes?
Yeah, I'm not feeling very docile anymore.
Uh-oh.
One of my questions was the musical influences, and that got answered. The other one is, what does it feel like to be such a young artist, 14, 15, 16, amongst all these older musicians and artists, and how do they treat you?
At the time, it was just frustrating. You know, I was 14 or 15, and I thought I knew what I wanted just as well as people like Joplin or Hendrix who were in their 20s. And it was frustrating that I wasn't allowed to check into a hotel on my own, get onto an airplane on my own. I mean, I was making the same money they were with absolutely none of the power. So that, I remember that was just very, very frustrating. I had an American Express card when I was 15, but nobody believed it was mine. You know? But the flip side is that because I was so young, outside of a couple of people in the folk movement who were horrified that there were drums on my record, outside of those people treating me pretty badly, everybody was pretty nice. I was really taken under a lot of people's wing. Odetta and Dave Van Ronk made it their business to let a lot of people know that I was under their protection. People like Joplin were just really, really good to me. In part because I was young, I think in part because I was so talented. Which again, I say in all humility because I really didn't have anything to do with that part. And in part because in general, people in the arts tend to be very generous. It's really rare that you run into someone who's a complete idiot. It's a small community, and I'm always amazed at how generous artists are at passing on everything from vocal tricks and guitar licks to things that they were taught by people like Stella Adler. God, I'm just thinking young people who taught me stuff. It's scary. Yeah, I hope that answered your question. My partner always says that if she asks me what time it is, I tell her the history of watchmaking. Yes.
This is going to be the last question of the night because Janis is willing to sit and sign books and CDs.